I am so excited today because in front of me, I have the lovely, the talented, the beautiful Reverend Dr. Eleanor Moody-Shepherd. She has meant so much to me over the years. Dr. Shepherd, I love you.
I love you too, Dr. Vaughn. It's so good to be invited to be part of your show because women need to hear voices of women, and especially women that have made contributions throughout the world and just now, right on the ground, just women. And we're not just looking at all of the powerful women, but we're looking at women TV.
Yeah, we're looking at women TV, and we're also looking at all women with potential of powerfulness, of being more powerful, being empowered, being able to do that which you thought not possible. I can vividly recall a long conversation we had maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and the things you shared with me. I'm living in that space now, the space of confidence, the space of writing my books, the space of talking and teaching and telling. And all of that was confidence that you, by perhaps just sharing a word or two, you like sort of hit me with an AK-47. And I got it. So I meet other people who have similar testimonies about your success and how you influence them. And you had an opportunity to tell me a little bit ago that you live on purpose. So do you attribute the manner in which you impact other women, our community, and the world by the fact that you live on purpose?
I do, because I learned from other women. I had many mentors, and in my early childhood, and the most powerful mentor that I had was, of course, was my mother. And my mother, my father worked outside of the home, but my mother did not work outside of the home. She worked. She probably worked more harder than my father did, because she was. I had four other siblings. But the other thing that she did, she was a community organizer, and she was very involved.
Come on, Obama now.
Yeah, she was very involved in the community. She was involved in politics. She was involved in education. So I was really led by her, and I saw other women. And so over my years, I watched the women work, and I said I wanted to be a person that, and they were not on stage. This is the way they did. This is the way they lived. And those women that I observed, my mentors were women of purpose. And that's what I wanted to be. And that's what I have done in terms of developing my life. And so, and it has helped other people see and find their own purpose, because I have been intentional about working with women.
Intentionality.
And that's intentionality. So you have to recognize your purpose, and then you have to work. And that's what I have done in my life, engaging, interacting, being collaborative, and obviously in helping to empower other women.
Well, that is awesome. But I see that your living on purpose has been living intentionally, but it's also taken you to China, to Africa. To tell me about your travels and how living intentionally and living on purpose opens the doors for you to have entree with the Chinese and the Africans and people all over the world. Tell me how that works.
Well, one of the things that you have, being intentional is about seeing the world in its fullness. And so one of the things that I learned when I grew up, when I was growing up in the South, I read a lot, and it was intentional about looking at other cultures. I was intentional about learning about other cultures, and I knew the world was bigger than the binary that I grew up in Alabama, black and white. And so I know that they made contributions as well. So I had an opportunity to go to China to teach. So I went to Beijing twice, and I taught around that area, and I saw women, and primarily my area that I found that I needed to help other women was to realize their call and to see themselves as being as their God self, because so often women have been relegated to not being part of salvation.
Come on now, Reverend Doctor.
So when I went to China, particularly in China, I found that the people came from all over China. It was the underground, and they came from all over China, and they wanted to learn. And there were as many women as there were men.
Wow.
So even in China, I was able to impact women. I still have pictures of us. And I was able to impact women, and they were able to see a woman. And it was interesting because for them, it was a real novelty. Not only did they see a woman, they saw an African American woman.
Wow! Wow!
And that really and it helped them to also see that God is bigger than what we have been able to put God in that box and identify God.
Yes. Well, the Chinese are very interesting people, but I know you've also worked in Africa.
Oh, Africa is one of my. I have been very involved in empowering women in Africa. It is an empowerment. In Ghana, there is a woman that is in our Doctor of Ministry program, and she is in charge of the Presbyterian women all over the Ghanaian Presbyterian Church. And so I have worked very closely with her. And there's another woman in Akapong, one of the areas in Ghana, that is working between the traditional religion and the Presbyterian Church. And what she's done is trying to teach the young people so that they understand their culture and their history.
Wow.
So we have, not only is she empowering the young men, she's also working with young women.
Wow.
So that's my Ghanaian trip. But the one that I find that's really important for me, empowerment, is in Nigeria. In Nigeria, the Christ Apostolic Church has a birthing center.
Wow.
In one of the small towns in Nigeria. And so when I went there, I wanted to do some work with women. And I found out that they needed in the birthing center, they needed generators. So I flew a generator there, and I helped them to develop a safer place for the birthing of the children in that center. And now I continue to serve, to provide empowerment for them and provide resources for them.
You know, you remind me, my grandmother was the person who delivered babies in our community. And we were in a community where we only had one white doctor, and he would only provide services to black people, African American, on Thursdays. Now, if you had a medical emergency on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you were on your own. In fact, I received a severe burn as a child, and the doctor refused to see me. And it was just by the blessings of God and the work of my father that I was able to be transported to another town to see a physician. And it didn't bother him that I could have died. It's just that he did not see, he only would see black people on Thursdays. And this is a true story. So to have so many changes in what we do and how we do, and have so many doctors. My husband's a doctor, so you know there are a lot of doctors around, but being in a rural area where only one doctor provides, and the do no harm theme is sort of thrown out the window. So there's a lot going on in this country, and there's a lot going on in other countries. So I support, as you know, I totally support the Women's Center at New York Theological Seminary. In fact, I serve as a trustee there. So when you talk about helping women, you're talking about me, because I earlier stated how helpful you've been to me in terms of laying out my own direction, in terms of finding my own purpose. And every day, or very often, I'll say, I run into people who have been blessed by your ministry. I think we should start a school of purpose and have you as our head person in charge.
Well, you know, Gloria, I think about when we talk about, in retrospect, how we develop our purpose, but part of it, and I want to go back to my early childhood and the development. Part of my purpose was developed during the civil rights movement.
Me too.
And I was very active and a student at Alabama State University. And I served as the secretary for the movement there at Alabama State.
Wow.
And one of the things we were able to do, and that's what I say by purpose, one of the things we were able to do through my work and my fellow students, and I look at the movie now, that the movie about Selma right now, and it really touches my heart because it helps to tell part of my story. Because I walked across that bridge and I did the Selma March. But what is critical to this discussion is that my work at Alabama State University helped to change the federal laws in the United States.
Wow, yes.
We were able to, during one of our marches, we were able to take the state of Alabama to court. And the case was Dixon versus the state of Alabama Board of Education.
Wow.
Now what that did was it changed the federal laws, and all students now have due process. So in that work, and when I say purpose, I have been working with my colleagues at New York Theological Seminary. And we take students and community people to the South every year. And we know that civil rights and religion, that's the consciousness and the moral compass of a people. We take people to the South every year on a trip, and we have been able to talk about it and to be able to work with students so that we can make the connection between civil rights and Southern religion, because that is what it was, the impetus for the movement that has changed not only this country, but has changed the world. So I am still very purposeful about engaging the whole of humanity. That's why I'm a womanist person. I'm a womanist scholar, because not only do I feel that it's important to change women and empower women, but we also must be intentional about having all of the people. We don't leave anyone behind. So that's why it's important. That's why my purpose is in life. It's obviously to make sure that we try to develop and continue to develop a society that's full of justice, and that we can get close enough to each other so that we can learn to love each other, so that we can learn things about each other. And that's and that's a segue for me into my work at New York Theological Seminary.
Yeah, you've said some very impactful things. I am totally and absolutely convinced that if we were to take the Bible and we would say, what is the absolute most important thing? In other words, if I were to take the Bible and discard everything, I'd end up with John 13:34, which says, a new commandment I give you, to love one another. So this loving one another is just what you have shared. If a person is purposeful, then that purpose encompasses love for one another.
Absolutely.
And I'm impressed with your work, but I'm just wondering, how do you balance your work at the seminary and your travel to China and Africa and all over the world and to Alabama? How do you balance all that with your personal life? Would you share with us about that?
Well, obviously, I am, and I'm a purposeful person because I believe in balance, and that is my health, and I'm very, and you were the person that helped me to focus on being having budget, your economic and finances. You know that trip you were talking about, that we spent all that time together. You helped me to understand how important it is for a particular woman to be financial management.
Yes,
and women must be engaged in managing their finances.
Yes, well, I have a saying. It says, I believe every woman should have her own purse. Her own purse. That means you got a couple of dollars in it, not an empty purse, of course.
Well, I think that's when what you said to me, asking me how I balance. And one of the ways I balance is by being economically sound.
Ah, yes.
And being able to financially, manage my finances. And the other way I balance it is by my food. I'm intentional about eating and managing my food. And my doctor said to me recently about, she said, your food is your drugstore. When I told her, she said, what are you doing with your diet? And when I told her, that's another way. And, physical exercise is managing, I believe in managing me. And managing my own health and my wealth and my resources.
Well, I can tell you have the most beautiful skin I have ever seen on a human being, except for a little baby. Well, how do you get that baby skin? I want to tell me your secret.
Well, it's part of it's genetic.
Genetic, okay.
Yes, part of it genetic, and part of it is what you put in your body.
Yeah.
So I'm intentional about that. But I would also like to say about my work environment. And that is also, you talk about balance. My work environment and New York Theological Seminary has been the place where I could really realize my education, being able to realize the mentorship, because I came to New York Theological Seminary, and one of the things that I was able to do is to help to develop that Women's Center. We found that we founded that Women's Center 25 years ago, more than 25 years ago, and I was one of the founding members.
Wow!
Because I became aware that so many women needed to be mentored. They needed a safe place. They needed a place where they could come together. These are women that were preparing and really were called by God, but of course, that's another topic about talking about how they do, but they serve God in so many important ways. But New York Theological Seminary has been a place where I could do the work that I need to do, that I was called to do. And the seminary has supported me and provided the place. If you have at that seminary, if you're creative, and if you want to do the work that the seminary sees as its mission, and I like that mission, and that is to prepare people to provide service for the people and now we are so interfaith, multicultural. We embrace all people. And so that seminary has provided me so that I could fulfill my purpose.
Right.
And I could really be intentional about serving and being able to travel, being able to mentor, and to be able to fulfill my own and intentionally about my own life.
Wow. And I know that you told me, even though you don't look like a grandmother, you told me that you had grandchildren. What is that about? I mean, how does a beautiful young woman like yourself end up with, did you say 4?
I have 2.
2. Oh, see, I'm multiplying. I'm giving you more than you got.
Yes, I have 2.
And
yes,
your
I have
children
2. Yeah, I have 2 children and 2 grandchildren. And my granddaughter graduated from George Washington University and from Georgetown, and she works in a law office in Washington and lives in Washington, D.C. And then I have a little grandson who's 14, which that I'm loving watching him grow. But I have so many people in the seminary that I have see as my surrogate.
I see we have the seminary the banner in our background.
Yes.
It's a beautiful, beautiful background.
Well, the reason why, Gloria, New York Theological Seminary is in the background for me is I have been at that seminary as a student and as a professor, as an administrator for 28 years almost.
Wow.
So it is part of how I have lived, and it's through that seminary that I have been extremely purposeful.
Wow, that is awesome. What would you tell a young woman who is thinking of moving to a more purposeful life? How would she get started? It seems like there's so much going on in the world, and we're so bombarded with ideas. And what would be your, just maybe a short word that you would give a young woman who is intentional and wants to live on purpose? What would you tell her?
The one thing that she has to do is learn how to be introspective. And learn how to really know who she is.
Oh.
And really know herself.
Right.
That's one thing. And the other thing is a young lady need to really have confidence. Confidence, and really have confidence in her own self.
Right.
Confidence is important.
Because so introspective and have confidence. Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going to pass that word along because it's very good. Because those are the things I work on, and I see the introspection as knowing your own personal philosophy about life.
That's right.
How will you philosophically approach life, and how will you do? How will you treat people?
And what are your goals?
And what are your goals? Right. Your goals are important. But I think if you get on the working on yourself, it will lead you into a path where you will know how to define your own goals, because that introspection is taking you to a place to get to know yourself better.
Exactly.
And when you know yourself better, you do better. And when you do better, you are better. And the world is better. Your family is better. Your grandchildren, everyone feeds off of that introspection that you develop and that personal philosophy that you live with. So for you, sharing all of that with us has been a total blessing. By the way, you look fabulous, darling. I love your colors.
Thank you.
I love your colors. I love what you're doing. I love your work. I love your kindness and your caring for people. I want to be like you when I grow up.
You're already there.
Well, I'm already grown up. That's for sure.
Grown up. That's
so Women's TV is excited about having you here, about your being here, about sharing your life and what you're doing. Women's TV, we say it's the place where we celebrate good women doing great things. We absolutely adore you. We love you. And we hope that you'll be back to visit with us again, because you inspire us. You gave me a hint as to what birthday just passed. I'm not going to say anything because it will, like, everybody go like, what? So we don't want to astound and amaze the whole audience. But I am so happy that you are here and that you are sharing with us and that you take the time out to love us, because that's what I see when I look at you. I see love personified. And there isn't much more that I could say other than come again. We love you. We love you with the love of the Lord, but we love you from our hearts. There's a deep felt love for you. And the women at the center, they absolutely adore you. So please come back. Be with us, share more of your story. I'm really interested in China. I have a young friend who's Chinese, and I'll tell you, when the Hurricane Sandy came, he and his little bride came over, and they're about this big, and they were lifting the trees, and I'm going like, whoa, like they were so intentional about being helpful. And I think that intentionality, I totally agree with you, is one of the most important aspects of human of being human. And the loving kindness that you can share with others, that is absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Dr.
So
Pine.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I forgot one thing, and that is, where do you shop?
In Ghana.
In Ghana. Oh, so we got to go to Ghana with
Yes,
you to
yes.
shop.
Shop in Ghana.
Shop in Ghana.
Ghana, West Africa.
In West Africa.
Yes.
I have seen you in some absolutely amazing outfits. The outfits that I've seen you in, I know they were out of this world, but I didn't know they were out
They
of
were
Ghana.
out of the country.